What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Swag Event Podcast. I'm your host, Big Pen. I got my co-host with me and my brother, First Swag Event. What's up, my man?
What's going on, Penn? What's going on, Swag Events and all our friends and family? What's going on out there?
Hey, man. We appreciate all the love. We've been getting so much love. Go cop your merch. SwagEvents.com. Go cop the merch. We got shirts. We got tumblers. We got stickers. We got patches.
Matches. We got everything you need.
We got workout attire. So if you want to get on your physical fitness journey, we got that. Go to swagevents.com and get your merch. All right, today we got a special guest, man. I've been knowing this brother all the way back in 2001. He's one of the original OG Delta dogs that we've been talking about. You know, he was there at the beginning. He's there at the beginning of my career. He's a good friend of mine. So we was like, man, we want you to come on and tell your amazing story. So without further ado, we're going to bring to the stage Sergeant First Class Retired Joey Johnson.
What's going on?
Y'all doing?
Man, we in the house. We
Yes,
here.
Thanks for having me, man. Thanks for having me.
Man, it's our pleasure. You know, like I was telling you before, you did some amazing things in the U.S. Army. So we want to bring you on and highlight those amazing things, man.
Awesome. Yeah, man. Let me just say first, I love the content. I love what you guys are doing in the veteran community. It's a big plus for us. I watch the podcast. I know other veterans down here that watch it, so I'm spreading the word.
That's awesome, man. Thank you so much. And we got to keep it going. So we want to make sure that, they got these other podcasts out here. They talk about Delta, they talk about special forces and all the other foundation for them. They couldn't do what they do. So
Exactly, man. Exactly.
And you know that we're going to get into it because you was in the special operations community, so you know.
Yep.
So, but yeah, man. So Brockton.
Yeah.
From Brockton. Yeah, man. So a kid from Brockton coming in the military. Talk about that.
Yeah, Brockton's an old industrial city. It used to be called Shoe City.
Shoe City. Okay.
Yeah, Shoe City. So they made shoes for the Army during World War II. Jump boots, Cochrane jump boots.
What?
Yeah, man. Crazy. Crazy coincidence. I didn't know that until probably my second year in the Army. My mother told me that. So, yeah.
I didn't know that till now.
Jump boots. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, it's just it's an old rundown city. It's in the, it's halfway in between Boston and Providence. So it's, a lot of stuff happens in that place. And, I just didn't have any direction in high school.
Okay.
So I went to the recruiter and was like, I want to join.
Mm-hmm.
And next thing you know, he shipped me off to basic training.
Okay. Have you had prior family members in the military?
No, the only prior family member I had was my grandfather. He was in World War II.
Wow.
Yeah, he was at the Battle of Leyte Gulf. So I didn't really understand. Like, I didn't know what the military was. I just, you watch movies and you're like, oh, that looks badass.
Did you ever hear some cool stories from him?
Not really.
Yeah. Some people just don't talk about it.
No, not at all.
So boom, you come enlisted in the military. What job did you end up picking?
So I didn't get to choose. They kind of chose for me, and they chose like 88 Mike.
They voluntold you.
Voluntold me, man. They're like, yeah, you're going in as 88 Mike. I said, what is that? I'm like, oh, motor transport operator. They showed me, they showed me the cool videos of like the PLS trucks, like riding NTC and stuff. And I was like, oh man, that was really, really cool. I was like, will I be be near the front lines? And they're like, oh, definitely, yeah. You're going, yeah. So 88 Mike, and then I was in the delayed entry program because I was about halfway through my senior year in high school when I signed up. So.
Oh wow, okay. And this was in what year?
It was in 1997.
1997. And then got you. So did you initially pick Airborne?
No. During basic training, they asked, they walked in a little like mailroom when, they used to throw your mail at you.
Yeah.
They're like, all right, who wants to make an extra $150 a month? Absolutely.
Absolutely, money.
They're like, all right, come up here and sign. 19-year-old or 18-year-old me was, like, all right, cool. They misled me this far, so I'm okay. I go sign. I was like, what am I signing? And they're like, oh, you're gonna go jump out of planes. Like, I've only ridden in a plane once.
It's crazy because I remember when I went to MEPS, I picked 88 Mike. They were like, you could be 88 Mike or you could be this commo person. I'm like, what do they do? And she was like, if you want to run behind a truck with some wire, then that's the job. He's like, no, I don't want to do that. And then so they had Airborne in my contract, and I was like, Airborne planes? I was like, no, take that off. So they ended up taking it off, and then I went to basic at Fort Benning, and then I saw all the Airborne stuff everywhere. And then I'm like, no, I want to go Airborne. So I ended up going back. They let me go back to Airborne. So, all right. So you went to 88 Mike, and then you went to Airborne school right after AIT?
Yeah, I was actually, so in basic training, I actually failed BRM the first time.
What?
Yeah, man. I shot a 22 out of 40. I could not hit the Brock. I'd never handled a rifle before, so I didn't know what I was doing. And they recycled me to one class. So I watched everybody I went through basic training would graduate. Which, that hurt. That it definitely put something inside of me to like, all right, I'll never feel like this again. I never want to feel like this again, because I was standing there while they're graduating in Class A's, and I'm doing BDUs handing out flyers before they graduate with my name on it.
No.
But yeah, right after that, they took me to another class that was going through BRM. Then I got 24 out of 40, and I was like, I'm out of here.
I'm good. And then you went to Airborne school. How was that experience for you, jumping out of airplanes for the,
I've never been so scared in my life. The first 2 weeks is kind of like, your body's beat up a little bit. It's the first time out of basic and AIT where you kind of got a little bit of freedom. So you kind of like, you go out drinking and, you're partying a little bit, especially, Thursday, Friday nights before jump week.
Yep.
And then, jump week comes and everyone kind of gets serious. Everybody kind of takes it. And for some reason, one of the black hats just had it out for me. And he was like, you're Johnson, you're going to be, because what roster number was that? I was like 201. He's like 201. You're going to be the number one jumper on day one. And I was like, I don't want to be the number one jumper. I want to be the number one jumper. And he's like, I don't care. You're the number one jumper. So, first jump, we're rigging up. I got the parachute on, and I'm kind of trying to hide in the back. And he's like, where's 201? Where's 201? And I'm like, oh man, I'm not going out there, man. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. I thought about like just being like, nah, I'm good. I don't need to jump out of it. I don't need that $100 a month. And then he found me. He puts me in, to go in reverse chalk order and puts me in the number one jump position. And he's the safety on the jump, right?
Yeah.
We walk into the plane. I'm sitting there. And we're jumping C-141s. So this is how long ago that was.
Oh my God! You didn't even jump a C-130, 141.
141s, man. Yeah. Which is crazy that's another story when we get to that.
Okay.
When they saw C-141 on my jump log.
Yeah.
So we get in the plane. Plane takes off. They do their nap of the earth, right? You're getting ready to throw up. It's my second time on an airplane, right? And I'm about to jump out of it. I do that. The thoughts running through my mind was like, we do this for what? Why are we doing this? For $150, I'm about to jump out of it. What if my chute doesn't open?
Yeah, you have those thoughts, absolutely.
Next thing you know, you hear that door come up, and that sound comes through, right? Now that I'm, after I went through Jump Master, it's like, oh, it's a beautiful sound. Well, that was the most ferocious sound I've ever heard in my life. Door goes open. He does his door checks. Then we go through the jump commands, stand up, and he's like, stand by. And and I'm like, and then, they do the 1 minute, and he's like, see that out there? It's beautiful. it's beautiful. And it really, it really was beautiful.
Yeah.
Then that comes on and your training just takes over, man, and you just fall out the aircraft. And so it's so quiet, man. It's the best.
That's funny because I was the doorman my first jump, and when he opened that C-130 door, I'm sitting there thinking about all my life decisions.
Absolutely. Like, what did I do to get to this point?
And it was crazy because just a funny story. In airborne school, when you give the all okay jump master, well, the jump master told me, he said, I want to feel the heat from your finger on my nose when you give me the okay. So fast forward to my first jump in the 82nd, we had a major jump master. He was a major. And then when they gave me the okay, because, they want all the new jumpers to be up front.
Yep.
So when I gave him the all okay, I put my hand in his face and he looked at me like, what the heck are you doing?
I remember that jump.
Hey, and they hazed me too. They can't do that. They put cherry pies in my pockets,
baby.
Yeah.
Man.
You had to wear the special helmet. Jumper. Oh man.
I don't know if you can do that nowadays.
No, you can't haze like that nowadays. All right, so you get to Fort Bragg. Oh, Delta Company?
Yeah. You get the 19th replacement group. Everybody starts getting their assignments. As a matter of fact, me, Sanford, and Reuters were all together at 19th.
Oh.
Yep. Yeah, man. Yeah, we all went to Airborne school together, and we all graduated Airborne school. We all showed up.
Oh, that's awesome.
Delta Company at the same time. 3 of the most retarded guys you're ever gonna meet. Me,
Did you watch?
Roommates.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Okay. So boom, your replacement, and then I know replacement, you do all your PT tests and all that type of stuff, and then you head to Delta Company. What was your first sergeant? Who was first sergeant? Was Bernie first sergeant when you were there?
First sergeant, yep.
Okay.
Yep. And dang, I forget the commander.
Was Miko the commander?
Yep. Captain Miko. Awesome commander, man. Took really good. Him and First Sergeant Bernie that's probably the greatest command team I've ever been a part of. So
yeah, First Sergeant Bernie was amazing. He's definitely a rock star.
Yep.
All right, so you get there and you just do your time.
After 19th, you go to 82nd replacement, and that's where kind of starts getting real, right? They don't give you your beret until that Thursday.
Yeah.
Ship day?
Yep, ship day.
You have to pass the PT test again.
Yep.
There. And then you get beret, and everybody's in the barracks, shaving their berets.
Shaving their beret, yep.
Well, everybody's
on there. Got to get that 80-second lean on it.
Lean, baby.
Yeah.
But yeah, showing up. We showed up. Me, Sanford. We all showed up to Delta Company at the same time. It was a 3-day weekend.
Oh.
Bad move on their part. Amazing, right? So I get there and I'm like, I'm from Brockton, Mass. I'm good. I can handle my liquor and everything. And well, that's different. You know how it is in them barracks, man. It was. Listen, they took me for a ringer, and I think we went to the NCO club that night.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I think we went to the NCO club, and it was all the NCOs. It was like Dunnigan, Jones, Carrera.
Yep.
Dang, who else was there? I think Strib was there. Rodriguez. Oh, Rodriguez came with me.
Oh, Hot Rod.
Hot Rod.
Yep.
Get there, and they start pouring liquor down. We're and these guys, and they're still like just acting, normal and like they hadn't even been drinking. And here we are, like, oh. And these dudes made me walk back from the NCO club.
No way.
Oh my God, yes.
Down Long Street.
Man, yeah, man.
Long Street was nothing but woods back then.
Woods. I was like ducking from the MPs.
Yeah.
I get back.
Long Street. Hey, they had the old sports bar at the end, and that's about it.
Yeah, Sports USA.
Yeah, Sports
Oh,
USA.
Fight Club, remember?
Yeah, the Fight Club. All right, so you're there, you do your time, and then you end up changing paths, right?
Yeah. You know, at the end of my first enlistment, I had a family. You know, I had 2 kids, wife. The wars were starting.
Yep.
So, you know, I started putting them as my priority. And so I kind of chose to get out of the active duty and go to the reserves, which kind of didn't help at all because the reserves were active. As soon as I got out, I got activated. And it was,
man.
Yeah. So, and we were right away to Afghanistan. I think I'd been out. I just reclassed. So I reclassed from 88 Mike to 88 November.
Yep.
And during the reclass process, they put us on orders, the unit that I was in, they put us on orders to deploy to Operation Enduring Freedom.
Oh, man. So you got out, what, 2002? Or you switched over to reserve 2002?
Yeah.
Did you reclass right away?
It took like a month for, you know how the process is really slow.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. And then they sent me to this like 1-week training during like drill.
Yeah.
Like a weekend a month. And then they sent 2 weeks down to Fort Eustis for my certification to change.
That's it. So 3 weeks total to change your MOS.
That was it, man.
I thought it was a whole process because I thought you had to do like TC Ames and all that other stuff.
That was during the 2 weeks that I did at Fort Eustis.
Oh, I got you.
It was called TC Access or something like that back then.
TC Access.
Yeah.
Man, that's crazy. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, man. The next thing you know, we're out the door. I was flying on a C-17 for my fourth time flying basically on an airplane.
Yeah,
flying across Afghanistan.
Man, I'm gonna tell you, in Delta Company, and I knew because I remember I think Arroyo was my first team leader, and I had some not Portis, but why am I having a brain fart here?
You were in second platoon. You were in first squad, right?
I was in first squad, yes, because it was Cook. Sergeant Cook was my squad leader.
Man, that boy
and then Sergeant Arroyo was my team leader, and we jumped a lot, man. I couldn't believe we had a pretty high tempo in Delta Company.
Yeah, we did. We did. We were constantly trained. Like there wasn't many weeks where you could get 2 full weeks of leave. Because we had missions everywhere, especially you guys. Second platoon, if a brigade was going to JRTC or NTC, that's it. I mean, we only had 2 squads of 1088s. Yeah,
because as soon as I got there, I got to Delta Company August 2001.
Mm-hmm.
And then October we went to NTC.
Yep.
Because Sergeant Mortimer, he had just got promoted to E5.
Sergeant Mortimer.
Yeah, he had just got promoted to E5, and we was over there, man. And I was like, man, our up tempo is crazy. But back then we were discom, so we supported the whole division.
Yeah, the whole division. Yep. Yeah, and for first platoon, it was the way it was. We supported each FSP.
That's right. Yeah.
So, first squad supported 407th, second squad supported 307th, and I think third squad supported 82nd.
Mm-hmm.
But you guys were spread so thin in second platoon that you guys had to support all of them.
Well, we had the 1088, so we were doing JFEXs all the freaking time.
Yep. And anytime there was a heavy drop, or anytime there was a large package week, or you guys were on it.
Yeah, man. That's why and that's why,
They nicknamed Penn Heavy Drop.
Yeah, that was. That's funny you say, because when I was stationed in Italy, I got my Class A skydiving license, and my jump master had to wear weights because they called me Fast Brad because I fall really fast.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I couldn't have felt too good during the opening shock.
No, it was actually pretty good.
Yeah.
It wasn't that bad. It was like probably T10 Charlie. Wasn't that bad. Because they gave me the big one. I had a big chute. They tried to give me the tandem chute.
So Joey, what you say that your first deployment was to?
My first deployment was to Afghanistan.
How was that like?
Well, we were on Bagram and just moving supplies in and out.
Mm-hmm.
So when a unit would come in to do a rotation, so we did all the movement control for it. So and then we planned the intra-theater airlift and some of the convoy stuff. We issued like the trip tickets for everybody to go out, supplies to the forward operating bases.
How long was your deployment?
That one was not. So it was originally 6 months, and that was about the time that Iraq was kicking off.
Mm-hmm.
So they started extending the deployments to 9 months.
Mm-hmm. And then you came back then you redeployed, and then
redeployed, and I kind of got a taste for it. I got to go out and do some civil affairs missions, like in just around Bagram, and I kind of got a taste for it. I was like, oh man, this is kind of fun, right? And then as soon as I got back, I started looking for another unit that was deploying to anywhere. So I started, asking my in the Army Reserves, they have like a civilian tech, and so I just sent them an email. I was like, hey, if there's units that need people, I'm willing to go. And my dwell time was good enough so that they could send me, to another unit. So, and about 3 months later, they found a unit for me, 167 CSG, Core Support Group, and they had been in Iraq for about 6 months, and then I got attached to them, went through the mobilization process, and then met them in theater. They had about 5 months left in their rotation.
Mm. So you did a 6-month deployment, came back, stayed for 3 months, home station, then left for another 6-month deployment.
Yep.
You was after it. You was after it.
Yeah, it was. I don't know if it was more. If I was more like running away from my home life, like the responsibilities I had there, and I think that's ultimately kind of how my thought process was. Now that I think about it, so many years later. But yeah, I was really, I don't know, I was chasing the rabbit, is what they call it. And once I got it, I kind of, I wanted more of it.
I feel like as for myself, like after deployments, I'm sitting stateside. I was ready to go back to another deployment after a while. It was like he wasn't so distracted.
Yeah, right. And it was like the everyday life, right? Like sitting in traffic, getting on post, or picking up the kids at baseball practice or whatever it was. You just you're like.
And not only that, it was like you're training so much to go do your job.
Yeah.
Now the opportunity to do your job is here, so it's like I'm going to work.
Yep.
That's how I felt. Like I'm going to work now. Like I was just training and practicing when I was stateside. Now I have to go to work.
Now it's real. It's real. I'm really doing it.
Exactly. So then you came back, and then what happened then? You looked for another deployment?
Kind of. I kind of did. At that point, my kids were a little older. My oldest was about 6 then. My youngest was 4. So I kind of felt like I needed to kind of be a dad for a little bit. So that's when I really started the FedEx contracting gig, driving for FedEx. Did that for a while, and then you just kind of I was sitting in a truck by myself all the time. I was good, good customer service skills and talking to people delivering packages and stuff. But you just kind of miss that. I don't know. It's hard to explain. I don't even know how. It's probably why I'm a cop now. Is you miss that camaraderie. You miss that kind of banter. The sitting in the back of the truck on a mission. Playing spades, right? When everyone's just talking.
Nope.
So I was still like looking for that. So in 2007, a buddy of mine was a reserve recruiter. So I contacted him and said, "Hey man, I want to go back to active duty."
So when did you get to the 53rd movement?
That was right after I talked to him. It was probably 2 months later. I was at MEPS signing up going in as an 88 November active duty E6, and then that was in 07, 08. yeah, '07 was when I signed up this, and then I'm sorry, it was December of '07 is when I contacted him. January of '08 is when I went to MEPS. They shipped me in July of 2008 to 53rd.
Wow.
What was that location? What was that base at?
That was at Fort Eustis.
Fort Eustis. You had any memorable moments in Fort Eustis?
I mean, that's really where I got to learn how to be in 88 November.
Mm.
You know, a lot of people don't know, like 88 Novembers are like, we're multifunctional logisticians. We can do pretty much everything. Our units are self-sufficient. The movement control teams, you know, there is no supply sergeants. There's no mechanics. There's no, you know, the officers typically are brand new lieutenants who don't know anything. So, you know, training your Joes to do, you know, the job of an 88 November is you got to be self-sufficient within the NCO Corps.
That's right.
So that's really where I got the technical skills to kind of proceed in my career.
Did it prepare you for, like, I know you got to work with the 10th Special Forces group, correct?
Yeah. So I was at 53rd for probably about 7 months. And they were actually, as a matter of fact, they were getting ready to deploy to Afghanistan for those the 15-month deployments. And I was pretty excited about it. You know, I was kind of looking forward to it. And then branch, you know, because I was and this is where Airborne comes back into the play. Because I was an Airborne 88 November and there wasn't many with a secret clearance, there wasn't many of them in the Army at the time. They put me on orders to 10 Special Force Group at Fort Carson.
How was that?
Man, what's crazy is I was actually training to go to selection at that time. When I was at 53rd. So I was, you know, my neighbor was actually a pilot for the TRADOC commander, Jason Luker. He was the Lakota helicopter. So that's what he flew. And before that, but before that, he was in 2nd Battalion, 75th Ranger Regiment, and he did, you know, he was on Haditha Dam. He did some cool stuff, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I you know, I kind of used him as a mentor, and he put me in touch with a guy that was down in 3rd Group, and because I was like, I kind of want to go to selection, see what it's like, and so he put me in contact, and I started training, and then I got put on orders, and I was like, well, I guess I don't need to go to selection.
Go to group GSP.
Yep.
Well, you didn't go to selection, but you was able to get some Pathfinder jump master in.
Yeah, I got, and they don't give, you know, they just don't give that to, you know, anybody in group. Like a lot of people think like when you get to group, you're just gonna get all the schools. You know, I got there, and what I did is I just worked my butt off. You know, anytime there was a mission, I was on it. You know, I made sure that my job there was to track, because we 10th Special Forces Group at the time we were switching out with 7th Group in Iraq. And so my job was to kind of manage the ISB and then resupply missions, and then the personnel moving, because if we weren't like deploying forward as a battalion, we just did individuals. So like they'd be like, we need a dog dog guy, or we need a sniper, or we need a whatever. And I would book them commercial flights and, you know, get their hotels and set the ISB up so that, you know, when they get there, you know, the bags get taken care of because they got all the special equipment. So I just really, you know, I would work Saturdays, Friday nights, you know, it didn't matter, Sunday mornings. It didn't matter. I really worked my butt off and built a reputation that, you know, the Green Berets could actually trust me, that I was going to be the guy that they could count on when they needed me. So
that's awesome.
You also went to Somalia too. How was that?
Yeah, so that was my time. So after my time in 10th Special Forces Group, I applied for the Joint Special Operations Command, and I didn't know what I was getting into when I did that, but because I'd actually applied for G Squadron at the unit to go over there with those guys, and they weren't hiring. They didn't have any 88 November slots at the time, so they put me in contact with the JSOC recruiter, and then the JSOC recruiter put me in touch with the SOLSI recruiter. So the SOLSI is the essentially the GSB of the Joint Special Operations Command. So they don't, you know, they are the multifunctional logisticians for the entirety of the task force of the Tier 1 units.
Have you ever seen cool things in Somalia?
Yeah, man, a lot of strife. A lot of
Really? What year was this?
I did two rotations in Somalia, 2013, 2014.
Okay. I went to I was at Camp Lemonnier.
Yep, Djibouti.
Yeah, Djibouti. 'Cause we were so this was 2016, and there was like they're standing up a logistics unit in Djibouti, and they're like, we need some 88 mics to go there. Who's I was a master driver, and me and another guy, we went over there with a team, and we talked. It was so gratifying because these guys had never stepped foot in a truck before.
Really?
But we trained them. We took them through driver's training. We taught them convoy operations. We had some scouts and we had some 11 Bravos over there. So we taught them how to shoot a rifle. We taught them basically how to be a soldier and defend themselves. And that was really gratifying because I saw them going from doing nothing to learn how to conduct a convoy, conduct short halt actions, how to defend a convoy, a lot of the stuff. So,
Yeah.
but they were learning how to fight. Was Al Shabaab a thing when you were there?
Al Shabaab, yep. Al Shabaab.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was crazy. How was it dealing with those guys?
So my job over there, I was basically the J4. So each outstation has its own little command structure.
Mhm.
And those SOLSI would play the J4 for that task force. So that means I was the logistician. I was the supply guy. I was the pay agent. I was the FOO. I was the 1208 pay agent. I was, I would do contracting. I would do, any repairs. I had a mechanic with me, and then he would kind of make sure the vehicles were up and running, the generators were up and running, so we always had power. But it was just me and him, so we worked our butts off when we were over there, man.
I bet, man. You wore a lot of hats.
Yeah, and on top of that, it's one of those things where they're like, "Hey, J4, go make the airport run," and it's because we got 2 NSA guys coming in or whatever, So now you got to get geared up and get ready to roll. Get the PSA, get your surrogate force together and say, "Hey, come on, man, we got to roll."
Dang. And one thing that I did find out is when we were over there, I had never felt any heat like I felt when I was in Djibouti, bro.
So Djibouti heat's different. I was probably like 200 miles to your east.
Okay.
In a little town called Basaso, Somalia. That was my second time in Somalia.
Okay.
It's right on the Horn of Africa.
Mm-hmm.
And the team house was right on the beach.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Remember the movie Black Hawk Down?
Yes.
When they show the water and it's just crystal blue. I mean, it's the same thing in Djibouti. We used to go swimming in that water, dude. It was so hot there, so hot.
The humidity made it worse too.
It's 100 degrees with 100% humidity. It's like god awful heat. Because I just remember being out there training the soldiers at like 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning, and it literally just looked like we jumped in a pool. Yep.
I was like, Jesus criminy.
Yep. The Whiteside SEALs that were with us, they were there as trainers for called the Puntland Security Forces. So call them the PSF. And they couldn't train during the day. It was just too hot. So their training was specifically only at night.
Oh man. So you did your deployment. So let's back up a little bit. How was your FedEx gig?
I made a lot of money.
Yeah. You say you learned some I was trying to remember. You say you learned some personal, like customer skills doing that?
Yeah, like customer service skills. That you really, because you're just taking packages off and delivering them to a business or whatever it is, and you just kind of learn to be personal. And, sometimes those packages in transit, I'm sure you've gotten Amazon boxes and they've been smashed or something from UPS ripped open or something. people pay money for this stuff and they get upset. They get upset because I'm the face of FedEx. So I really had to start changing my attitude to being like, right? Like to being like, oh, my bad. Hey, listen, it happens. I'll talk to my manager about it. We'll see what we can do to fix it. But did you have insurance on it? Because if you do, you can file a claim for it, and I'll take pictures and I'll put it in when I go back to the warehouse. So I really had to really distinguish myself from just being a guy to being a customer service agent.
So going back from that, you because a FedEx driver, you kind of like work alone most of the time, where other than dealing with customers, right?
Right.
I remember you talking. That's kind of like you miss the camaraderie, and that's why it probably drove you to go back active duty.
Yep. Yeah, that's probably the single contributing factor to me going back active duty. Because you can only listen. I didn't have anybody to talk to throughout the day.
Yeah.
Yeah. And those kind of times, it's all about performance. Like, what are you doing right now? What are you doing right now? Can you deliver more packages? Can you deliver more packages? And kind of in the Army, like when you're training for a mission, you're inherently focused on the mission. Everybody wants to accomplish the mission the right way and do the right thing. And then you have that downtime, right after a mission, or when you're getting ready to start the mission, like a jump. Right, it's that time where you're just waiting, and that doesn't happen in the civilian sector.
No,
and that's what I really, really missed about the military.
Yeah, when I first got out, I didn't take a knee and kind of got myself together. I immediately moved so I was here in Clarksville. And then I was just searching and I found this company. I went to North Dakota and started working in the oil fields.
Really?
I was hauling oil. So that's a very lonely job. I would work 12 hours a day, Monday through Saturday. We'd have off Sunday. And then you just do it again. But it was just miserable, man, because it was mainly by myself in my truck. Just going out there. You're just going out there, taking oil out, transporting it and delivering it and just doing that. And you do 3-4 loads a day. And I'm just like, and then I had a camper. So I went back to my camper by myself. So it was crazy, man. I hardly had any human interaction. It was very limited. So I was actually depressed, man. I'm like, I got to get out of here. But luckily, the company, a lot of people were doing safety violations and like they lost their contract. So it kind of gave me an out.
Gotcha. That's, dude, I'm glad you're here, man. Because I know that the depression when you're in your post, because I had it twice. I kind of had it twice. So I do know that feeling. When you're down on yourself and things do not look good, and the alternatives are there. It's a lonely, lonely place.
So you got back. You did your time. You ended up retiring. And then now we had talked about it, but for the people, who's watching, you just graduated from the police academy.
Yep. Yeah. I'm a New Orleans police officer now.
How was that experience going through the academy?
Man, because it's so fresh, it kind of brought me back to my first days in basic training. That kind of bewilderment look. Except this time I kind of know what to expect.
Yeah.
So it allowed me to be a leader in the class, whereas a lot of people want to quit because things get hard. And I just wouldn't allow them to quit. I'm like, you don't understand how good we've got it right here.
Yeah.
We're here learning because we want to be here. If you don't want to be here, you can quit at any time. But I don't recommend that because you're going to regret it.
How did all your military training, deployments, leadership ability, because you was a senior non-commissioned officer going into the police academy, how did that leadership transition over to you being a leader in the academy?
It was pretty seamless. During what we call the smoke sessions at the academy, I would, I'd make sure that people who were feeling bad or just didn't couldn't meet the standard of PT, you know, I'm working with them, and I'm like, listen, I'm 44 years old, and here I am.
Yeah.
Stay with me. If I can do it, you can do it. I'm telling you, if I can do it, you can do it. And that started resonating with a lot of people. I had a guy that I worked with at the academy. He failed his last PT test, but he started off. He was about 300. He was about 344 pounds.
Wow.
And then I started working with him on his diet and his PT, and he lost over 69 pounds now.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and you know, you could see it building during the academy. He started getting the confidence. It started building up. We do scenario training,
Mm-hmm.
And you could see it building during the scenario training, and he started feeling more confident in himself. And even though he failed the final PT test, he still is there at the academy now, training just PT so that he can get to the street and accomplish his goal.
That's awesome, man. Now, did the instructors or the police academy personnel, did they know your background?
Nope, I didn't tell anybody my background.
Okay. Did they kind of figure it out once they saw your leadership ability?
They figured it out pretty quick.
Okay.
Yeah, they figured it out. They don't, you get up there day one, and everyone's like, "All right, what was your, And I told them exactly what I was doing before this. I didn't tell them like what I had a prior career. I just told them, I was like, I was an insurance adjuster.
Hey, who's this guy? This insurance guy coming in here, police academy.
I'm running the instructors. I'm running the cadre.
That's awesome, man. What about the Loomis security? What was that? What was that?
So that was my first post-retirement gig.
Really?
Yep. I thought I wanted to be in a leadership role.
Mm-hmm.
Even though leadership in the civilian world is much different than it is in the military. It doesn't really, from my aspect, I don't think it equates as much, right? It's hard to get civilians who work at an hourly rate wage to kind of work like you would work if you're getting a salary.
Yeah.
So that was a lot. Man, I was 7 days a week, 12 hours a day.
Wow.
Being in a vault, counting money.
Oh man.
Yeah. And I'm pretty good at suffering for myself, right? Like,
yeah.
I do my cold tub, I sit in the sauna, I run, 5 to 6 miles on Saturdays. So I'm pretty good at suffering, and I just couldn't suffer in there anymore. And on top of it, I was in that period of post-retirement, right? So you're in that depressive state where it's like, man, I don't even know if I want to be here anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It was really weird because that's kind of when we did the podcast with Cosby, he kind of said, because in the civilian world, it's so much different because he's like, we're used to doing things, NCOs making stuff happen, making the mission happen. But he's like, hey, if there's a light that goes out in the office, what do? You just change it. But he's like, that's somebody's job. You got to put in a work order. They got to come change the light for you. And that really, I was like, really?
Dude.
He's like, that's what their job is, to do that.
Spot on, man. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like, sometimes you could tell a private to be like, hey man, go mop the motor pool real quick.
Yeah.
Just to do work, right? Just to, get stuff done so you don't have to do it later on in the day.
Mm-hmm.
But it's then where you're like, hey man, go take the trash out in the bathroom. They're like, that's not what I'm here for.
There's janitors for that.
There's janitors for that, yeah. So, yeah. Now,
in the police academy, did it kind of take it back to the military training? Like you were just saying, hey, go clean the bathroom.
Yeah, and the cadre chose me as what's called the recruit in charge. So, I didn't let them do any of the crappy tasks without me being there. I always made sure that I was the first one. If we had to clean the bathrooms, I was the first one with the mop, and I started mopping before everybody.
You led from the front.
Yeah, I was leading by example. If we had to be in formation, I was the first one outside, and my uniform was tight. My boots were always shining, my uniform was always pressed, and my gun belt was always in line with my buttons. So I always made sure that I set the standard that they could. They looked at me, they knew that they were in the right.
Now you had to physically shine your boots.
Yeah, man. Yep.
Oh man, that takes it back.
Bro, listen, on Sundays too, we had to do it on. So we had, because we have first formation on Monday mornings.
Yeah.
So, bro, I'm back in Delta. I'm in my Delta days.
Yeah.
Boots on Sunday, right? Because I remember you, Lee,
Yeah.
Sanford had good boots. Who else had really, really shiny? Cook, Sergeant Cook had really shiny boots, and Mahatma.
Yeah, Mahatma. Yeah.
So,
Bro, people used to pay me to shine their boots.
I remember. I think I brought my boots to you a couple times because you did the heat gun.
Yeah, I did the heat gun and I had the Silla shine too.
Yeah, Seal shine. Yep.
Oh man, you
Yes,
couldn't tell me.
we just taken the pin.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember when we would have the jump boots inspection. I remember people coming to me like 10 o'clock at night. Hey, can you shine my boots for me? Give you $60. I said, man, give me him.
And you come on Friday during payday activity, your eyes bloodshot red from staying up all night.
I'm telling you.
So Joey, how did the how did the military affect your family life?
It took a toll on them. It took a heavy toll. When I was at the Joint Special Operations Command, when you're there, you're gone. It's like 290 days a year. You're gone, not at the house.
Oh,
so
no.
yeah, we only deploy for 4 months, but in that after that 4 months, you get probably you get like a week of leave. Well, you have a week of like turn-in stuff, so you got to turn in all your money and make sure your property book's good and all this other stuff. So you don't get to take leave right away like you would if you're in a conventional unit. Even in 10th group, like, you come home from deployment, it's like you do your reverse SRP and then boom, you're on leave for 30 days or whatever it is. But not there, because the next what starts is your training cycle, and then you're at this school and you're at this school and you're at this school and you're at this school, and everybody's going their different ways for 4 months, and then all of a sudden those 4 months are done and everybody comes back, and now we've got collective training. So now you got to do your like individual MOS training, and then you might have to do it like a certain school because some deployments require certain schools that you need, like Lincoln Welding or SERE, or what those kind of schools, depending on the deployment. So you're gone 290 days a year. You get really spend less than 2 months with your family. And my ex-wife at the time, my wife at the time, I came back from a school, and it was a good school. It was mobile force protection, so just driving and shooting all day. So for a whole week, all you do is drive and shoot.
Mm-hmm.
Really fun. And came home, I sat down, I started playing my PlayStation. She came upstairs. She was like, "It's me or the job," and I was like, "Oh man." And we get into an argument, and I'm like, "Why you put me in this situation?" And I'm getting ready to go. This was my Niger deployment. I'm getting ready to do it. To work at an embassy in Niger. I don't know if you guys remember what happened in Niger in 2016 with the third group.
No.
Where the 4 Americans got killed.
Oh wow.
Yeah, man. That was the year after when I was in Niger. I used to make. I'll tell you that story. But yeah, so she came and told me it was me or the unit, and I had to call my team sergeant, Scotty Edwards, and I was as a matter of fact, I was being prepped to go to Halo School, the close course at Eloy. I was going to be one of the first 88 Novembers to go, hopefully graduate Halo School.
Free fall wings, yeah.
Yep, and I was on that. That's the path I was on, and I called Scotty and I was like, "Hey, man, I don't even know how to say this, but my wife is kind of giving me an ultimatum that she doesn't like the way things are going here. So I gotta ask. I know my 3 years aren't up until next year, but because you have to do 3 years in the unit before they'll let you PCS. I was like, hey man, I'm gonna ask to go back to the conventional army.
Oh wow. And that's hard going from that environment back to the regular army.
Yeah. Yep. And that I went from that to the 4th Sustainment Brigade at Fort Carson, Colorado.
I remember when you went to Colorado, man. I wasn't a big fan of it.
What's that?
I said you weren't a big fan of it.
No, not at all.
So what advice would you give the serviceman and service member about balancing the family life?
The job is going to keep rolling no matter what you do. You can have all the cool guy stuff, do all the cool guy deployments, and get the cool gear and do all of that stuff. But at the end of the day, your family's going to be there for you. The job is just going to spit you out and keep rolling. I think one of the biggest takeaways I got from retiring is I came here. I was on terminal leave when I went back to outprocess Fort Carson. I went back, hang around temp group, right? I've been in temp group for almost 10 years. Times. So I go back there, say hi to everybody, but it was like they didn't even have time for me.
Dang.
Yeah, so you're like, man, we jumped together, we partied together, we broke bread with our families together, and there we go. Yeah. I guess that's how it is, man. And it just keeps on rolling, man. They chew them up, spit them out.
Well, now you're retired. I mean, we had retired. How was your fatherhood looking like with your kids then after the retirement?
I am much more involved in everything they do. That is every job I've had post-retirement, I've tried to make sure that my family is the first thing that comes. So no matter what I do, my family is going to get the support from me that it needs. So my wife was going through nursing school while I was in my post-retirement phase. She just graduated back in April.
Oh, that's awesome.
So I supported her throughout this whole thing. Any job I had was to make sure that she could, live the lifestyle that she wanted while she was in school, so she didn't have to struggle. She didn't have to worry about taking my daughter to daycare, picking her up from daycare, taking her to dance recital, whatever it was. I made sure that I was, on top of my family first before my job.
Oh, that's good, bro. And then after that, let's just say you went to college. Did you college inside or out?
I went online. I knocked it out online. I actually knocked it out when I was at JSON.
Where'd you get? Oh, go ahead, Dan.
No. I was just saying that's awesome. You got time that you're able to do that.
Yeah, I would, especially on my deployments, I would just, my off time, it was either in the gym because when you're in those kind of outstations, so it's different from like being in a conventional like Afghanistan or Iraq outstation, where you kind of you can get stuff. In those kind of outstations, man, it was like 30 days. The medium fixed wing that used to rotate around the Somalia team houses, it broke. It crash landed in Galkayo, Somalia, and so we couldn't get food. We couldn't get resupplied. We had no, if anything went down, it was just us. We were at least 3 hours away from any QRF coming to get us.
How many guys you have there with you?
It was like 19 of us.
You guys didn't have a lot of threats for yourself over there?
In Galkayo, not really. In Basaso, it was more of a problem because of the location of the house. So where the team house was in Basaso, it was actually attacked by Al-Shabaab back in 2009. And that's when we really started making a presence there, kind of putting our foothold and training with the PSF to kind of counter them. And we pushed the perimeter out pretty far.
With you being with the SOSA, you guys probably had a lot of cool equipment that helped facilitate you.
Yeah, I mean, we got all the new gadgets, man. So there's four people per log, logistics MOSs. So you have 4 92 Alvarez, you had two 92 Yankees, you have 4 88s, 2 88 Novembers, 2 88 Mikes, you have 4 mechanics, and the 88s, 88 Novembers, we were truck drivers. They sent us to CDL school, and we hauled equipment from Fort Bragg, North Carolina, to Creek Air Force Base in Nevada.
Holy, that's crazy, man. So you did a lot of stuff, you know, in the soft community. You know, did Jump Master, you did Pathfinder, all that. Did you do any combatives in the regular army, or did you do all of them in?
No, I did my combatives level 1 and level 2 at Fort Carson, the Fort Carson Combative School. That's like that's the only school that you could do it at.
Okay.
And then in 2010, they started a program called Special Operations Combatives. Like it was brought on by Greg Thompson, and he basically trained like all the tier 1 guys, and then kind of made it a program for special forces guys. And in 2010, he came, and I was chosen by my battalion as 3 sergeant major, who's a Green Beret, and he was like, "Hey, you're going to be the battalion combatives guy."
Whoa.
Yep.
How different was that than the other combatives?
It was definitely more operator focused.
Okay.
So like, you know, you're going into a room, kind of what tactical combatives is now.
Oh, okay.
So the combatives training that soldiers get nowadays is kind of the special operations combatives program.
What would you say out of all those schools that you did was like, okay, this is going to be a problem. I need to buckle down.
SERE.
SERE? Oh man.
SERE, because and nothing prepares you for it. Nothing prepares you for it. So there's nothing you can do. Day 1, we go. They call it the academic lab, and it's day 1, and you're in a building in the middle of the woods in North Carolina. And next thing you know, there's dudes with guns, and they're fucking rounding you up. Excuse my French. They round you up, put bags over your head, handcuff your hands, throw you in the back of a box truck, and drive you around for about 2 hours.
Dang.
Yeah. Then they unload you into some small ass camp, put you in these 4x4 cells, and they got nothing but music playing, and you're just they strip you down. They put you in they put us in hospital grounds. They take your shoelaces and the soles out of your foot, out of your shoes. They cuff you in front like that, and then you got to stand basically the whole time you're in the academic lab, which is, I think it was 36 hours.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and if you fall asleep, they know when you're sleeping because you're snoring. So especially me.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got the hose and they wake up, American. You know, so.
I think John, you went through SERE. I think John told me a story that wasn't there like a short guy there, and you always had to crouch down when you talked to him.
Yeah, we had something like that, if I can remember how, because they took the salute was like kneeling down, and you had to go shorter than the guy, or you was getting the black eye or something.
I'll never forget. I was in. They pulled me in so I went to SERE 400. I didn't go to SERE C.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll never forget. They pulled me out for an interrogation, and I could hear Gabe DeMuth. He was in one of the other detachments in Soul Sea. He was the detachment commander actually, and he was a Green Beret. So he had been through SERE C, right? And I just hear them slapping the crap out of him.
Oh man.
And they're like, he's telling us everything we need to know. And I'm like, I don't know what, listen, I'm an 88 November. I move cargo. Oh, yeah. You know.
Oh, man. You move cargo, huh?
You know, because they could, overhand slap you in the face. So.
Man, I had went to CFC with Darvin Cosby.
Cosby, yeah.
Oh man,
he had to been one of the.
Tell me about that.
He had to been one of the biggest, swollest guys there. So when we was running through the prison yard, he could not be seen.
Right.
And they had these barrels that was placed that was dug into the ground and filled with water. Cosby was so big he couldn't even fit in these barrels. But the water was coming out. It was like he got in, the water was just flowing out from the ground, and they just still kept pushing him in there. They was putting their feet on him, and everybody running around like, if they gonna do this to this guy, what are they gonna do?
Oh man. Oh man.
Okay, he said I can't fit. It hurts. It hurts.
You would think at that point they'd be like, all right, timeout.
Yeah.
Oh
Where's
man.
the bell? Is there a
No,
bell? I
that
just want to ring the bell.
They was like, no, we didn't put several people in these barrels.
We're gonna make you fit.
Oh man.
Yeah, you'll survive.
It's
Yeah.
crazy.
I just remember like asking everybody every question I could, before I went. Nobody would tell me anything, and I'm like, man, someone tell me, hey, something. Just tell me something. I just need to know what it's like to get slapped.
Yeah, oh my God.
I found out that day, huh?
Oh man, I got slapped several times.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Even people got slapped for no reason because of me. It was just a slapping spree.
Hey, Jay, didn't you have to carry those 5-gallon bucket or the 5-gallon jugs around?
Man, you have to. So one thing I realized, as long as you carrying the water, they wouldn't mess with you because people had to drink water.
Hey, listen, you gotta find a way to eat, baby.
That's right. But listen,
Find a way to eat.
but Kaji was getting picked on so much, he came and asked me for the water. Listen, I act like I didn't hear him. I was in the safe zone with my bucket of water. I act like I didn't hear him. Hey, to this day, he'll tell you about it, man. I went to get the water from John, but he wouldn't give me the bucket of water.
Yeah, at SERE, I was kind of jealous because I wanted to get the job of sweeping, but I couldn't get it. Because at least you could see daylight and everything. And I just was like, what time is it? How many more hours we got of this?
He said, how long we got of this? Oh, you all out of character, you all out of role.
Yeah.
When it end, Exodus.
Yeah, yeah. And they're like, we're gonna keep you here for so many more days. And he's like, what? Oh man. This is a school, right?
How long has it been?
I couldn't wait to see school was over.
Yeah.
Man. It seemed like it just kept going.
Yeah.
It kept going.
Fun times, man. Fun times. When I tell people like suffering, I'm like, you have no idea. No idea.
Yeah, I guarantee. I mean, I never had the pleasure of doing that, but I guarantee it definitely helps you with your resiliency in life, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I had one time where Cosby we had to make some type of apparatus that we learned to go hunting. Cosby was malnutritious. He got a shirt over his head to keep away from the flies. I mean, from the mosquitoes. And he's up there making a fishing pole. I go up there and I talk to him and I say, Cosby, I put a map in front of him. I say, where do you see water on the map? I kind of crushed his dreams. I'm like, where are we going to use this fishing pole for? Come back to reality. Come back to reality, Cosby.
He was just gonna do the one skill he could bring.
Man, we over there. Listen, I'm not making this up, man. We over here peeling bark, catching grasshoppers. All this to eat. That we think we got a nice meal.
Yeah.
We got some rabbit. In the creek. Getting cold, buried into the ground, getting cold. And I look over and Cosby is sitting down. So like all the energy is out of him because he hasn't eaten. And he's making a fishing pole.
What was his response?
Fishing pole, Cosby.
John, what was his response when you asked him, do you see any water on this map?
He threw the fishing pole down. He just stopped making.
He just was
fishing
like,
pole.
Listen.
He literally he was so tired, man. He was like, he wasn't even tired. He was just hungry. He had no energy.
That's
he was a big guy, man.
I remember it was probably about, it might have been like 20 hours in, and they finally fed us. And it was a bowl of cold oatmeal. And it had cubes and stuff in it. And I was just like, oh, man, I don't know what I'm going to eat again. Let me just eat this stuff.
At that point, you don't care. You're just trying to eat something.
Yeah, you're just trying to eat. And then they would spray you with the hose if you didn't eat it because you didn't like that cooking. So
Fun times, man.
good times, man. Great times.
Listen, man, the thing we do. That's why you want to go back to the military, man. Because where else can you find?
As you know, the crazy thing is, I try to tell people these stories, like in the civilian world, and they're just like, "Wait, they made you do that?" And I'm like, "Never mind, never mind, never mind."
Like, oh yeah, you're not. No one get away from my cool table. Let's get away. Never mind.
Just bring me my water. I just want a water.
Change the light bulb.
Change the light bulb.
Job security. Change the light bulb.
Job security. Change the light bulb. That's a good one.
Hey, Joey. So you had mentioned you kind of went through it, getting out both times. What kind of advice would you give anybody getting out?
I would say start formulating a plan early, and then stick to it. Like stick to your pace. Get your primary, have your alternate, contingency, and emergency. Because what they don't tell people when they get out of the Army or retire from the Army is that they're gonna hold your last paycheck for 30 days, and then I sold my leave back. I didn't take all my leave. I was in a unit that they didn't charge you leave as much as they should have. So I accumulated enough days where I could sell it at the end, and I recommend that to people if that's what you're going to do. Because just wait till your last day to get out. You're going to get out anyways. Like, you don't need the leave. That is going to be your last paycheck for the 30 days that you wait for your final. It allows you some money in your pocket. So if you have any kind of emergency expense, here you go. If you're at E7, here's $5,200. If you're at E4, here's $4,400. You got it in your pocket, and you can make that work for you, and go get an apartment, or go buy a business suit and start working on your resume and everything. Have your plan. Put a pace together. What's your primary? What's your alternate? Contingency and emergency.
Great answer, brother.
Did you ever have to feel like you needed counseling when you got out?
Yeah, I still go to counseling now.
Yeah, I think it's very, and we talk about this a lot. Sometimes when especially when I was in the 82nd, we were taught, you come second. Your soldiers, the mission comes first.
Yep.
So we were never really taught maintenance on yourself.
No, never. Minions on? What did you do to your face? My daughter just drew all over her face. This is what happened.
Look at that cute face.
We're almost done.
I'll turn it on in a second, baby.
Can you turn Paw Patrol?
Yeah, I'll turn Paw Patrol on. Yeah, that's my world right there, man.
That's amazing.
That's my world.
But,
Yeah.
You got anything, Jonathan Jones?
No, man. I guess one thing I would have to say about the transition for me, believe it or not, it wasn't my transition from trying to find my next career, but it's still ongoing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I'm talking about 5 years out. Even inside the military, finding what I wanted to do wasn't like a nail to the hammer immediately. Because I came in at 88 Mike, and I did 3 jobs in the military to find what I enjoyed. But one thing I know that I enjoyed was the Army's mission was to fight and win the nation's war. And that's one reason why. That's the main reason why I went to infantry, because I really wanted to be inside the fight. And after I did that, that's all I wanted to do, really. Then after I got the military, it was like, okay, I did that. Like, what's my mission? What I want to do, what I want to build, what I want to be creative, what I want to know. What title do I want to have?
This is a good one, man. What you guys are doing with the Swaggy Vets thing and putting on these podcasts this is brilliant. It gives us a platform. It gives someone like me a chance to tell my story. Everybody, everybody that's come on, man. I've listened to five of the podcasts, and it's just, it's crazy that it all kinds of sounds the same. We all kind of have the same stories. Everybody has that crazy dude in the unit, or
Yep.
that one time where you got screwed over because you had to stay an extra hour on staff duty or whatever it was. Those are the things that people don't really hear about from the veteran community. So everybody loves to do that stuff.
I love the guy that doesn't know he was the problem.
Right, man.
He blames everybody but him.
Yep.
I love those stories. Like,
Eventually, I got an appointment.
Exactly.
There's a detail or there's a mission. Man, see, my wife's got a thing.
I'd be like, I knew you in the military. Yeah, I'm so excited for you. Thanks for coming up on the show, brother.
Gosh, thanks for having me. It's been great, man. I love reminiscing with you, Big Pen, man. That Delta days.
Yes, sir.
I still never forget. We used to sit around in the courtyard, and we used to freestyle. Horribly, but we did it.
We did it. Yep. Those are the days, man. 782nd. Hey, I'll tell you though, after I left the barracks and then I'd go back and do like inspections on my soldiers, I'm like, man, we used to have the barracks jumping.
Yeah,
it ain't like that anymore. It's boring over here.
Yep.
I will say that. Yeah. But do you got anything in closing, Joey?
No, I just want to, if you are struggling, man, please reach out. It happens to everybody. I know two very good mentors of mine. One was a Navy SEAL. He was in SEAL Team 6. I worked with him when I was in Somalia. And my other one, my other buddy was in Delta. They used to call him Greg the Claw. The Navy SEAL was Bill Mulder. Both really, 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 really good dudes. Give you a shirt off the back. They didn't care. They both took their lives post-military. They both had so much going for them after they got out. Just reach out to someone. Someone's going to answer the phone. It doesn't matter. You can call me. If I don't know you, if you're a veteran, call me. I'll answer the phone. I promise.
Where can they reach you if they want to get a hold of you, Joey?
Hey, my phone number is 339.
No, like social media.
Social media.
Hey, I know, but my phone number is.
We don't want no one playing no prank calls on you. Like this guy's serious. Let me call him up.
They can on Facebook. It's my name, Joey Johnson. You'll see me in Saints gear. Who that? And then on Instagram, it's called Pogo_top.
Gotcha.
Those are my social medias.
Okay. Yeah, you're gonna be like, who was that back in the day? 281-330-8000.
Mike Jones.
He said he had about 80,000 missed calls. He said he had to change his number.
He said, "What was that?" He said, "What was he thinking?"
Yep.
Oh man.
Hey, thanks again for coming, brother. We really appreciate you, man.
Awesome, guys. I appreciate you having me. Love everything you guys are doing, man. If you guys ever need anything from me, please don't hesitate. All right.
Absolutely, brother.
All right,
See you on the next one. Peace.
Yes, sir.